Hello everybody, welcome to the Empressive channel. Nicki Minaj has had the internet on fire after she called out Jay Z, Roc Nation CEO Desiree and Megan Thee Stallion. I mean, she has been going in. She called out Jay Z for allegedly finessing her out of millions of dollars relating to that Tidal deal. If you remember, Jay Z launched his streaming platform Tidal, and Tidal promised to pay artists a higher percentage in royalties for their music. So a lot of different A-list artists hopped on board for this company thinking that they were going to get a good deal out of this. And according to Billboard, Nicki Minaj, along with 15 other artists, were actually offered a 3% stake in the company. And Nicki claims she upheld her end of the bargain by promoting the company and doing exclusives for Tidal and everything like that. But still, she claims that she did not receive a dime. In fact, she said, "I didn't even get one red penny when no one promoted it more than me outside of Beyonce, LOL, cha." And Nicki wasn't the only one who complained about Tidal either. In fact, Kanye West cut ties with Tidal after claiming that they did not give him the $3 million that he felt he was owed. And also there was this duo called American Dollar who sued Tidal for $5 million over unpaid royalties and copyright infringement. So Nicki wasn't the only one who had complaints about Tidal's alleged practices. Now, Nicki felt like she was really finessed after learning that Jay Z sold his major share of Tidal to Jack Dorsey for $300 million. And since she was one of the stakeholders, she was expected to make $8.9 million from that sale, but she said she never got it. In fact, the most she was offered was $1 million in hush money, which she turned down. And one of Jay-Z's affiliates, Steve Stout, said that Nicki didn't sign the contract, which is why she never got the money she was supposed to get.
I think in that case, what Nicki did was wrong. To bring up Tidal, his streaming company, that he gave you equity in, that you didn't sign the fucking paperwork, and that's the reason why you left millions of dollars on the table.
So Steve said Nicki didn't sign the paperwork, but she was on camera signing some contract, and Nicki did go back and say, "LOL, seeing these ends scramble in real time is so satisfying. Y'all can talk about Tidal until you're blue in the face, child. Y'all massa know Tidal is the least of his effing worries, stupid." And imagine that being a talking point. Do you know how much of a snake you'd have to be to have someone do all the work, then come out and say, "Oh, oop, you never signed your paperwork. LOL, this y'all king and y'all rat." So you're saying that brother billionaire would use a legal loophole to not pay a black woman that upheld her part of the bargain, then threaten her that if she didn't sign a random paper in 24 hours, she would lose out on a measly $1 million because that's what y'all were offering? I'm so glad I said nope. Scare tactics and manipulation to steal what I worked for. So while I was working for the company, they let me work with nothing signed? Like, how stupid can you silly ends be? Laughing my tail off. Y'all really have no understanding of business, huh? So now you're saying that when we signed our contracts in front of the world, those were fake? LOL. So now you've admitted to fraudulent tactics for the media? Like, huh? So in that case, I don't have to abide by any NDAs then, right? LOLs. By the way, who authorized the Shade Room post using my face as one of the artists claiming that we all received almost 9 million? Shade Room can't post about Demoree or Rymir, so clearly it would seem that Bot Nation themselves authorized that post, right? Like, there's no way you can be this stupid in 2025. She also said, "Silly wabbits, if y'all think this is about 9 million or Tidal, y'all haven't been paying attention. That's the least of their worries, Bookie. Least of their worries, trust me. Meet me back at this post a year from now." So when Nicki says that's the least of their worries, I believe she's referencing the various lawsuits that Roc Nation is dealing with right now. One of them involves Roc Nation's artist Megan Thee Stallion. Megan is currently being sued by her former cameraman Emilio Garcia over unpaid wages, mistreatment, harassment, and also Emilio claims that Megan had intercourse with one of her girlfriends in front of him in a moving car where he was trapped and he was uncomfortable. And so this case is actually moving forward. The judge is allowing it to move forward, and the judge also required Roc Nation CEO Desiree to sit through a 3-hour deposition. So This whole case is crazy in itself, but it doesn't stop there. Jay Z is going through a legal battle too with his alleged son, Rymir Satterthwaite. Now, if you don't know, Rymir has been claiming that Jay Z is his father for over a decade now, and even his mother, Wanda, submitted an affidavit saying that Jay Z is the father before she passed away. However, Jay Z has not taken the DNA test. He's been kind of avoiding it, and Rymir did file a lawsuit this year in May claiming that Jay Z's team committed fraud in multiple courts and misrepresented facts and exploited the legal system to basically suppress Rymir's paternity claim so he would not have to take the DNA test. Also, Rymir claimed that his car was shot up 6 times, and he felt like this was a message to silence him. Now, Jay Z is saying that Rymir is making up all of these allegations, and he wants the federal judge to intervene because he feels like he is being harassed. But I think it would be really easy if Jay Z just took the DNA test and proved that he wasn't the father and just get it over with. I mean, why does he have to go through loops and holes to avoid this DNA test? It makes no sense, right? But the reason why some people feel like he is avoiding this DNA test is because when he got with Rymir's mother, Wanda was underage. She was actually 16 years old and he was 22. Now, Jay Z did not know that she was 16 at the time. Rymir's godmother, Dr. Lily Cawley, actually said Wanda told him that she was 18.
What they call, his name was not Jay Z back then, his name was Roc. But she did tell Roc at the time that she was 18 or some whatever number she said. I think she said 18, even though she was 16, and she got pregnant.
So if it comes out that Jay Z did in fact impregnate a 16-year-old, that would be very, very damaging. That would be very damaging. Even though he was under the impression that she was 18, still, can you imagine the headlines? Jay Z impregnates a 16-year-old. I mean, that would be very, very terrible, and it'll open up a whole can of worms. So I think this is one of the reasons why he is avoiding taking the test. But honestly, we don't even know if he's really the father. We don't know if he's the father at all. I mean, he's probably not the father, but there is a possibility that he could be. Because when you look at some of Jay Z's pictures when he was younger and compare them to Rymir, they look similar. Even Jay Z's children with Beyonce look similar to Rymir when he was little. So there is a possibility, but once again, we don't know. But I think it was a mistake that Jay Z avoided taking this DNA test for so long, because now it's made the story much bigger than it needed to be. And he does have to reply to the lawsuit on July 18th. And Nicki and 50 Cent did post about it too. So the story caught more attention when they made a post about it. And interestingly enough, Jay Z's team did give an exclusive statement to US Weekly addressing the whole matter. So I thought that was rather interesting, and it kind of shows that Jay Z does care about this story gaining traction. There's also another lawsuit involving Roc Nation CEO Desiree Perez and her daughter Demoree Hadley, and Nicki Minaj did quote an interview that Demoree Hadley did with Tasha K, detailing her issues with her mother Desiree. Now, if you don't know Demoree's story, I would suggest either watching her interview that she did with Respectfully Xavier and Tasha K and Jaguar Wright. Also, she did one with BJ Investigates, but that video was removed, unfortunately. I hope she's able to get it back up. And Demoree also did a story with NB6 South Florida News, and I also did a breakdown on my channel about it if you want to check that out as well. But Demoree did allege that Desiree did a lot of stuff to her. It's actually a very disturbing story.
My name is Demoree Hadley, maiden name Demoree Lopez Perez. So just an overview of everything that has happened. I have been falsely imprisoned and through the misuse of the Baker Act, the Marchman Act, and a petition for a guardianship. And then my husband was falsely imprisoned 3 times. And then we've had to deal with harassment following both from licensed and unlicensed private investigators, as well as both of us being sued, as well as both of us being potentially gagged. And then both of us threatened, and then both of us followed on a 24/7 basis for the last 2 years.
This is just an overview of what she went through, and she went into a lot more detail. The allegations, like I said, are very disturbing. And if Desiree Perez allegedly did that to her own daughter, imagine what she would do to somebody she's not even related to. I'm just saying, like, a lot of people think Nicki is crazy for calling out Roc Nation, but I think that she has gone through a lot of stuff that we really don't understand. We don't understand how deep this gets. But she said, isn't it funny how Demoree claims they kept trying to convince others that she was crazy and even had paid medical professionals and fake Nike reps involving doing mental assessments on her without her permission? Isn't it odd that Desiree Perez's own daughter is claiming they kept making false statements to get her in a mental facility? Isn't it funny how they kept trying to say Desiree Perez's black son-in-law was abusing her daughter to get him falsely imprisoned? Remember the 3 times my home was swatted, claiming a man in the home had a gun? Does this not all sound familiar to what did and what is happening to me? Isn't it funny how they all have the mangy dogs using their trigger words now against me? Crazy, not in right mind. The same word she used about her daughter. Desiree, I'm not your daughter, you stupid, obsessed hoe. You hoping and praying all the truth don't come out, huh? It's over for you. The hand of the Lord is against you. I guess some people are happy knowing other families are being harassed and tormented, followed, hacked, stolen from, etc. But when the ish start to smear on their own front yard, they mad. I guess they thought they were effing exempt. Get the F out of here. Y'all gonna give me back every effing thing you stole from me with interest. And she added Sean Carter, Jay Z. Woo! Nicki is really upset, and she said, Jay Z, you let Desiree do a lot of evil to black people and you stayed silent. We used to believe you. You went out sad, man. This is all alleged and for entertainment purposes only. Desiree, did you get that 40 million? 55 in paying for bots? Oh, Bot Nation. Dear Jay Z and Desiree, you ruined hip hop, you ruined football, you ruined basketball, you ruined touring, you ruined Instagram, you ruined Twitter. The jig is up. All of this is alleged and for entertainment purposes only. You know, it's funny she said that because DJ Academic said something similar. Now, this is not to say that Roc Nation is all bad. I think they have done some good and helped some careers, but they also seem to have an unfavorable reputation in the industry.
You know not to fuck with Jay. The brand of Roc Nation, probably the worst thing that's ever happened to hip hop. They have the most likable or one of the lovable hip hop aficionados and legends that we have, Jay Z. That's the face of it, but they do nothing but fuck with other black artists. I've never heard them fucking with the white artists, ever. They're trying to create a monopoly. Like, they want to be, Roc Nation wants to be Live Nation. You know how Live Nation is with touring? You can't really tour without Live Nation. Like, trust me, they will fuck your whole shit up. Trust me, I told you they did this in Sexy Red, Moneybagg Yo, Lil Baby, and they were trying to strong arm Rod Wave. I know this personally. I'm talking to these people's teams. Roc Nation, which is a subsidiary of Live Nation, because they got a deal that's under Live Nation, they want to do the same thing to hip hop, but they want to do it with all artists. So, like, it's funny because Jay Z talks all this like he loves artists, but his label and conglomerate bully artists. They do the worst things to artists.
So it kind of seems like Roc Nation is developing a more infamous reputation now based off of some of these allegations. Now, Nicki also went on to say this: we've calculated about $100 to $200 million so far. Jay-Z called me to settle this karmic debt. It's only collecting more interest. You still in my top 5 though. Let's get it, man. And anyone still calling him Hov will answer to God for the blasphemy. I know that's right. I'm going to use some of this money Jay-Z owes me to send some of my barbs to college, pay their school fees and student loans via my Student of the Game charity. I hope the money stolen from my tour was hidden really well. I'd hate for there to be money laundering, embezzlement, etc. Now, Jay-Z's mother-in-law, Tina Knowles, Miss Tina Knowles, who is also Beyonce's mother, made an interesting post that a lot of people felt was shade towards Nicki. She reposted this clip, and in the caption it said, "Good morning. It feels good to wake up knowing my faves didn't lose their minds like some people. Y'all have a great day. Remember to ignore the ignorance," as Miss Tina Knowles would say. Now, Miss Tina did end up editing the caption a couple of times, and she got so much backlash that it got to a point where she said, "Wow, I reposted this because it was talking about our relationship. It had nothing to do with anyone other than me and Beyonce. Please stop being messy and dragging me into something I don't have anything to do with. You guys should be ashamed." Do y'all believe her? Do y'all believe Miss Tina? Listen, at the end of the day, this has nothing to do with Tina, nor does it have anything to do with Beyonce. I don't think people should bring them up in the situation. This is between Roc Nation and Nicki Minaj only, okay? But anyway, tell me what you all think about this video down below. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video if you care. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.